If you're eating beef, eggs, maybe even taking a zinc supplement, and your hair is still thinning, still shedding in the shower, still not growing the way it used to, you're not crazy, and you're definitely not alone. The real issue may not be how much zinc you're consuming. It may be how much your body can actually absorb and use. Today, we're going to talk about zinc bioavailability, because there's a big difference between zinc in your food and zinc that actually gets into your cells and supports your hair follicles. Zinc is one of the most critical trace minerals for hair health. It's involved in over 300 enzymatic reactions in the body. It supports protein synthesis, cell division, immune regulation, and hormone balance. All of those directly affect hair growth. If you're deficient, you can see increased shedding, slow regrowth, thinning at the temples, and even changes in scalp health. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Just because you're eating zinc-rich foods like beef and eggs doesn't guarantee you're absorbing enough. Bioavailability refers to how much of a nutrient is actually absorbed and utilized. And zinc absorption can be blocked or reduced by several factors. One of the biggest inhibitors is something called phytates. Phytates are compounds found in grains, legumes, nuts, and seeds. They bind to zinc in the digestive tract and prevent it from being absorbed. So if you're eating beef, but also consuming bread, rice, cereal, or beans in the same meal, you may be canceling out a portion of that zinc. Another issue is stomach acid. Zinc requires adequate stomach acid for proper absorption. If you have low stomach acid, which is very common, especially as people age, or if they're under chronic stress, you may not be breaking down food efficiently enough to extract minerals. Signs of low stomach acid can include bloating, feeling overly full after small meals, burping, or indigestion. Now let's talk about eggs specifically. Eggs contain zinc, but not in extremely high amounts compared to red meat. And the bioavailability from animal foods is generally better than plant sources because they don't contain phytates. However, if your overall intake is borderline or your absorption is compromised, even regular egg consumption may not be enough to correct a deficiency. There's also competition between minerals, high iron intake, high calcium supplements, and even excessive copper can interfere with zinc absorption. The body maintains a delicate balance between zinc and copper in particular. If copper is too high relative to zinc, you may see hair shedding increase. This imbalance can also affect thyroid function and adrenal stress patterns, both of which influence hair growth cycles. Stress is another major factor. Chronic stress increases cortisol, and elevated cortisol can deplete zinc faster. The body uses zinc during stress responses, immune challenges, and inflammation. So someone under constant stress may technically consume enough zinc on paper, but their demand is much higher than average. Now, here's something most people don't realize. The recommended dietary allowance for zinc is designed to prevent severe deficiency, not to optimize hair growth. There's a difference between avoiding a clinical deficiency and having optimal tissue levels for thick, healthy hair. But before you run out and start megadosing zinc, there's a caution. Too much zinc can create problems. It can suppress copper too much, impair immune function, and even cause nausea. The form of zinc also matters. Some forms are absorbed better than others. Zinc picolinate, zinc citrate, and zinc glycinate tend to have better absorption compared to zinc oxide, which is cheaper and less bioavailable. If you suspect zinc deficiency, signs may include white spots on the nails, frequent infections, slow wound healing, reduced sense of taste or smell, and increased hair shedding. Blood testing for zinc can help, but serum zinc doesn't always reflect tissue levels accurately. Hair mineral analysis can sometimes provide additional clues, though interpretation requires caution. The real solution often isn't just adding more zinc. It's improving digestion, reducing phytate intake around zinc-rich meals, managing stress, and making sure you're not overloading competing minerals. Supporting stomach acid naturally, eating whole, unprocessed foods, and spacing out mineral supplements can make a significant difference. When zinc levels are restored and properly absorbed, many people notice shedding slows within weeks. Hair feels stronger. Scalp irritation improves. And over time, density can gradually increase as follicles return to a healthier growth cycle. So if beef and eggs haven't stopped your shedding, don't assume zinc doesn't work. The problem may be absorption, balance, or increased demand. Fix those, and your body may finally be able to use the zinc you're already giving it. Most people assume that if they are eating foods rich in zinc or taking a zinc supplement, phytates, low stomach acid, mineral imbalances, and chronic stress can quietly block zinc from ever reaching your hair follicles, even if you believe you are doing everything right with your diet. This is where many people get confused. They look at their food intake, see beef, eggs, maybe even pumpkin seeds on the list, and assume zinc deficiency cannot possibly be the issue. But the real problem often is not what you are consuming. It is what your body can actually extract, absorb, transport, and deliver to the tissues that need it most. Phytates are one of the biggest hidden blockers. These compounds are naturally found in grains, legumes, nuts, and seeds. They are sometimes called anti-nutrients because of their ability to bind minerals like zinc, iron, and calcium in the digestive tract. When phytates attach to zinc, they form an insoluble complex that your body cannot absorb efficiently. That means the zinc simply passes through your system without being utilized. If your meals combine zinc-rich animal foods with high phytate foods like whole wheat bread, rice, beans, lentils, or certain cereals, you may significantly reduce how much zinc your body actually absorbs. Even healthy diets that emphasize whole grains can unintentionally lower zinc bioavailability if not properly balanced. Preparation methods matter as well. Traditional practices like soaking, sprouting, or fermenting grains and legumes can reduce phytate levels and improve mineral availability. However, in modern diets, many processed grain products are not prepared in ways that meaningfully reduce phytates. This creates a scenario where someone believes they are eating nutrient-dense foods while unknowingly limiting mineral absorption. Over time, marginal zinc absorption can contribute to subtle deficiencies that affect hair growth, immune function, and skin integrity. Low stomach acid is another major factor that interferes with zinc absorption. Zinc from food must first be released from protein structures during digestion. Adequate hydrochloric acid in the stomach is essential for breaking down these proteins and freeing the mineral so it can be absorbed in the small intestine. When stomach acid levels are low, this process becomes inefficient. Zinc remains partially bound to food particles and absorption decreases. Many people experience low stomach acid without realizing it. Symptoms may include bloating after meals, feeling overly full quickly, burping, reflux, or undigested food in the stool. Chronic stress, aging, certain medications, and frequent antacid use can all reduce stomach acid production. When stomach acid is insufficient, it does not just affect zinc. It impacts the absorption of multiple minerals and vitamins, including iron, magnesium, calcium, and vitamin B12. This can create a compounded nutritional stress on the body. Hair follicles are metabolically active structures that rely on a steady supply of nutrients to remain in the growth phase. If mineral absorption is compromised over time, follicles may shift prematurely into the shedding phase, leading to increased hair fall. Mineral imbalances add another layer of complexity. The body maintains delicate ratios between certain minerals, particularly zinc and copper. These two minerals compete for absorption in the small intestine. If copper intake is high relative to zinc, it can suppress zinc absorption and utilization. Copper is present in many foods and also in drinking water that passes through copper pipes. Some individuals may accumulate copper due to hormonal factors or environmental exposure. When copper levels rise disproportionately, zinc-dependent processes can become impaired, including those involved in hair structure and follicle regulation. Iron and calcium can also compete with zinc under certain conditions. High-dose iron supplements, for example, may reduce zinc absorption if taken simultaneously. Calcium supplements can have a similar effect. While these minerals are important, timing and balance matter. Taking multiple mineral supplements together without understanding their interactions can unintentionally reduce the effectiveness of each one. Chronic stress plays a profound role in zinc depletion and distribution. During stress, the body increases production of cortisol and other stress hormones. Zinc is required for proper adrenal function and is utilized during the stress response. Prolonged psychological or physiological stress can increase zinc turnover, meaning the body uses and excretes more of it. Additionally, stress can impair digestion by reducing stomach acid and slowing enzymatic activity, further limiting absorption. This creates a cycle where stress both increases zinc demand and reduces zinc availability. Inflammation is closely tied to stress and can also disrupt mineral balance. Inflammatory cytokines can alter how zinc is transported and stored in the body. During infections or chronic inflammatory states, zinc may be redistributed away from circulation as part of the immune response. While this process is protective in the short term, prolonged inflammation can contribute to functional zinc deficiency at the tissue level. Hair follicles are particularly sensitive to inflammatory signals. Even low-grade chronic inflammation can push follicles into the resting phase, increasing shedding. Digestive health overall plays a crucial role in zinc status. Conditions that affect the integrity of the intestinal lining, such as increased intestinal permeability or imbalances in gut bacteria, can reduce nutrient absorption efficiency. The small intestine is where zinc is primarily absorbed. If its lining is compromised, absorption decreases regardless of intake. Antibiotic use, highly processed diets, excessive alcohol consumption, and chronic stress can all disrupt gut health and indirectly reduce zinc bioavailability. Hormonal fluctuations can further influence how zinc is utilized. Thyroid function, for instance, depends partly on adequate zinc levels. Zinc is involved in the conversion of thyroid hormones into their active forms. If zinc is low, thyroid signaling may become suboptimal, slowing metabolic activity within hair follicles. This can contribute to thinning and slower regrowth. At the same time, thyroid imbalances can alter digestion and mineral metabolism, compounding the issue. Blood testing does not always reveal these subtle imbalances. Serum zinc levels are tightly regulated and may appear normal even when tissue levels are marginal. The body prioritizes maintaining blood levels for critical functions, sometimes at the expense of hair and skin. This is why someone can experience hair shedding despite laboratory values that fall within reference ranges. The combined effect of phytates binding zinc, low stomach acid limiting its release, mineral competition reducing its absorption, and stress increasing its demand creates a perfect storm. Each factor alone may cause only a mild reduction in zinc availability. Together, they can significantly lower the amount that ultimately reaches hair follicles. Over months or years, this cumulative deficit can manifest as thinning hair, increased shedding, and slower regrowth without any obvious dietary deficiency on paper. Understanding these interactions shifts the focus away from simply adding more zinc to addressing the underlying barriers to absorption and balance. It highlights the importance of digestive health, stress management, thoughtful food combinations, and mineral timing. When these factors are optimized, the same dietary intake can become far more effective because the body is finally able to absorb, distribute, and utilize zinc efficiently within the tissues that depend on it most. Correcting digestion and mineral balance is often far more powerful than simply increasing zinc D. Dosage, because the body does not operate on isolated nutrients. It operates on systems. When someone experiences hair shedding and immediately responds by taking higher amounts of zinc, they are assuming the problem is purely intake. In many cases, the deeper issue lies in how well the digestive system is functioning and how minerals interact with each other inside the body. Digestion is the foundation of nutrient absorption. You can consume the highest quality foods rich in zinc and other trace minerals, but if your digestive capacity is compromised, those nutrients will not fully reach your bloodstream or your tissues. The process begins in the stomach, where hydrochloric acid breaks down proteins, and liberates minerals bound within food. If stomach acid levels are suboptimal, this initial step is incomplete. Zinc remains partially attached to food particles and becomes more difficult to absorb in the small intestine. Low stomach acid is more common than many people realize. Chronic stress, aging, poor eating habits, and frequent use of acid-suppressing medications can all reduce acid production. When acid is low, people often experience bloating, heaviness after meals, or reflux. Ironically, reflux is often mistaken for excess acid when it can actually be related to insufficient acid and poor digestive signaling. When the stomach does not produce enough acid, the lower esophageal sphincter may not close properly, allowing contents to move upward. This digestive inefficiency does not just affect comfort. It directly reduces mineral extraction. Beyond stomach acid, digestive enzymes play a role in breaking down food into absorbable components. The pancreas releases enzymes that continue protein digestion in the small intestine. If enzyme production is inadequate, nutrient breakdown remains incomplete. Supporting digestive function through mindful eating, thorough chewing, avoiding overeating, and reducing highly processed foods can improve mineral absorption without increasing supplementation. Gut health is another major factor. The lining of the small intestine contains specialized transporters responsible for absorbing zinc. If the intestinal barrier is inflamed or compromised, absorption efficiency decreases. Conditions such as chronic inflammation, dysbiosis, or increased intestinal permeability can interfere with nutrient transport. When the gut environment is balanced with a diverse microbiome and intact lining, minerals are more effectively absorbed and utilized. Mineral balance is equally important. Zinc does not function alone. It interacts with copper, iron, calcium, and magnesium. The body maintains specific ratios between these minerals to ensure proper enzymatic function. Increasing zinc aggressively without considering copper status can create an imbalance. High zinc intake over time can suppress copper absorption, potentially leading to symptoms such as fatigue, changes in connective tissue strength, or even altered immune responses. On the other hand, excess copper relative to zinc can contribute to oxidative stress and may influence hair shedding. The goal is not to eliminate copper or other minerals, but to maintain equilibrium. This is why blindly increasing zinc dosage may temporarily improve symptoms, but create secondary issues if the underlying ratio remains unaddressed. Balanced nutrition that includes a variety of whole foods helps maintain these mineral relationships more effectively than isolated megadoses. Timing also matters. Taking zinc alongside high doses of iron or calcium can reduce its absorption due to competition for similar transport pathways. Spacing mineral supplements apart by several hours can enhance effectiveness. Even dietary patterns influence competition. Meals extremely high I. N1 mineral may transiently reduce absorption of another. Strategic planning, rather than simply increasing quantity, can improve net absorption. Stress management is a critical yet often overlooked component of mineral balance. Chronic stress elevates cortisol and shifts the body into a survival mode. In this state, digestion becomes less efficient. Blood flow is redirected away from the digestive organs toward muscles and vital organs needed for perceived threats. This reduces stomach acid secretion and enzyme production. Simultaneously, stress increases the body's demand for zinc as it is required for adrenal function and immune regulation. The combination of increased demand and reduced absorption creates a depletion pattern that supplementation alone may not fully correct. Sleep also plays a role. During deep sleep, tissue repair and hormonal regulation occur. Zinc participates in DNA repair and protein synthesis, both essential for hair follicle regeneration. Poor sleep can disrupt hormonal balance, increase inflammation, and impair nutrient utilization. Addressing sleep hygiene can indirectly improve how effectively the body uses available minerals. Inflammation is another factor that influences mineral distribution. During inflammatory states, zinc may be redistributed within the body as part of immune defense mechanisms. Chronic low-grade inflammation, often linked to diet, stress, or metabolic imbalances, can reduce zinc availability to peripheral tissues like hair follicles. Supporting anti-inflammatory pathways through nutrient-dense foods, adequate omega-3 intake, regular movement, and stress reduction enhances overall mineral efficiency. Protein intake is also relevant. Hair is primarily composed of keratin, a protein structure that requires adequate amino acids for synthesis. Zinc supports the enzymes involved in protein production, but without S. Efficient protein zinc cannot fully perform its role. A balanced diet that includes high-quality protein sources ensures that zinc-dependent processes can proceed effectively. Rather than focusing solely on dosage, improving digestive strength, reducing inhibitors like excessive phytates during zinc-rich meals, spacing mineral supplements appropriately, and managing stress creates an environment where the zinc already present in the diet can be used efficiently. This systems-based approach often produces more sustainable results than increasing supplementation alone. Hair follicles are sensitive indicators of internal balance. They respond not just to one nutrient, but to overall metabolic harmony. When digestion improves, mineral ratios stabilize, stress decreases, and inflammation is controlled, follicles are more likely to remain in the growth phase. Shedding may decrease gradually as the internal environment shifts toward balance. This approach emphasizes restoration rather than force. Instead of pushing higher doses of a single nutrient, it supports the body's inherent ability to absorb, regulate, and utilize what it already receives. Over time, this comprehensive correction of digestion and mineral balance can create conditions where zinc functions optimally within the complex network of biological systems that sustain healthy hair. Growth and cellular regeneration